Thank you very much, Don, for sharing with us your fascinating story about your career plans and your hopeful message to our audiences. Following Don's keynote address, let's enter the live panel discussion section. But before I introduce our first panel, you can all share with us which financial services sector you think you understand the most. Simply pick the answer from the poll. The options include A, banking, B, fintech, C, asset management, D, insurance, E, accounting, or F, I don't know or unsure. You will have 30 seconds to answer it, and the time starts now. Three, two, one. Time's up. And the answers of this poll would be A, banking, and also E, accounting, with a percentage of about 30% for banking and about 22% for accounting. Well, thank you all for your participation. Your participation can help our guest speakers better understand how you see the industry. And as you all know, 2020 is a year full of challenges, and the year ahead may also be full of uncertainties. And to this end, we have made employment trend under uncertain outlook as the topic of our first panel discussion. Today, we've gathered leaders from the fintech, wealth and asset management, insurance sectors, and also traditional banks with virtual businesses to discuss about the outlook amid uncertainties. Again, if you have any questions to the speakers, type it down in the Q&A box in the Zoom chat box. If your questions are chosen, you can have the chance to win a ticket to the Hong Kong FinTech Week. Now, let me introduce the speakers of the first panel who are already on screen. Our moderator would be Mr. Stephen Wong, Deputy Executive Director and Head of Public Policy of Institute of our Hong Kong Foundation. The panelists include Mrs. Ann Kung, Deputy Chief Executive of Bank of China Hong Kong Limited, Mr. Jim Lai, Vice President of Tencent Holdings Limited and Chairman of Fusion Bank Limited, Ms. Amy Low, who is Head and Chief Executive of UBS Hong Kong Branch and Co-Head of Wealth Management Asia Pacific at UBS Global Wealth Management. Also with us is Mr. Mark Saunders, Group Executive and Group Chief Strategy and Corporate Development Officer of AIA Group Limited. Now, let me give the floor to Mr. Wong for panel 1 on employment trend under uncertain outlook. Stephen, please.
Thank you. Again, I'm honored to have all the distinguished panel and across different sectors. Based on the polling I just saw, it is very interesting because I saw that we got pretty low self-perceived understanding of asset management, fintech, and insurance. And luckily, we have 3 of the panelists that are actually in these areas. And obviously, some of you said that you're more familiar with banking and accounting, and we have Anne from banking as well. So I guess part of us is to address a couple of questions. And number one is what are the situation currently at the moment? What are these different industries are doing? And what are the opportunities and what are the things that we look out for? And also, I would like to invite you to just type into your chat box. I will see your questions, and hopefully that will translate into some of the immediate, more interactive dialogues that we have. So without further ado, I will actually invite Amy, just according to the schedule, to share with us what you are seeing this year. Is it heavily affected by the pandemic? Are you still hiring? And what are the opportunities in wealth management and private banking?
Thank you, Stephen, for inviting me to this very interesting panel. Good morning to you all. I think when it comes to graduate and intern hiring, there has been no change. If anything, we're even looking to hire more at this level than in previous years. And I would say some of the increase in hiring originate from also some of the government sponsorship program, like the HKMA Banking Talent Program, as well as the FSDC and FSTB co-sponsor first program as well. To talk about the, maybe to give you a bit background about the Hong Kong MA Banking Talent Program, where we hire additional graduates and are providing them with an intensive 6-month hybrid work and training. And I'm very excited that UBS Hong Kong is hosting 60 out of the 300 talent participating in the program. And we have a very, very interesting program catered for them. And also, if I look at our demand through the regular graduate and intern hiring has increased. And I think primarily we have to take a long-term view with our junior talent program. Therefore, we did not reduce the hiring at this level now. And in some way, I would say the pandemic has also impacted our recruitment in a positive way by providing also an opportunity for us to reach to a broader range of students through some of the virtual campus event and give some of the candidates exposure to individual outside of the region. And I think that's very, very helpful. So for UBS, UBS is always keen to develop talent for the Hong Kong financial industry. And as we all know, financial industry is one of the core industry in Hong Kong. So by nurturing and also attracting talent to explore a career in the industry will benefit the whole city. So that's one of our key focus.
Amy, can you do me a favor? Just you can give 30 seconds or 30 level, 30,000 feet level overview of what wealth and private management do, so that I think some of the students, you can look at the website, but I think it's good to hear from you directly as to what do you see as sort of the day-to-day for wealth and private wealth management.
Oh, certainly this is a growth industry with all the wealth creation out here in the region. Primarily, I think our target client are the high net worth individual, plus also some of the family and also the family offices and also some of the ultra high net worth client. So it's how we're going to provide holistic solutions to this client, including investment, a seamless kind of investment platform for them, and also to take care of the family. The second big part is about the family. So a lot of the topic like succession planning, philanthropy, to do good for the society. And then the final part is also about the business, because a lot of our clients, 70% are entrepreneurs. So how to help them to grow their business, monetizing the business, or to create liquidity. So it's a very, very interesting and exciting kind of industry sector. And as I said, this is definitely one of the growth segment in the finance.
Thanks, Amy. Maybe I turn to Mark. Insurance seems to be the least understood among all the areas, at least according to the poll that I saw with this audience. Maybe Mark, can you start off from just explaining what are the career opportunities? I think a lot of people associate insurance agent to the insurance industry, which is obviously much bigger. Can you elaborate on that so that the students have some foundation?
Yes, Stephen. I mean, if I may, I'll do that by talking about the strategy of AIA.
Sure.
People can see, how we're evolving. I mean, historically, the insurance industry is a very simple industry. It could be encapsulated by the phrase, you die, we pay, right? Or you get sick, we pay. And that was it, a very transactional business. But at AIA, we're leading that evolution of the business to, rather than just waiting for an event to happen, actually trying to proactively manage that risk and keep people healthier for longer. So you may have seen a number of our programs or wellness programs where we actually pay people to live healthier lifestyles, and why? Well, it's good for them, good for their families, good for their employers, good for our business if they stay healthier for longer, and good for society and the economy at large. So principally, the old style traditional insurance may not have a very enticing appeal, but where we're going to is really, really purpose-led. The world is facing, we're living longer, longevity. We all know we can keep people alive a lot longer. But as people are getting wealthier, which everyone's touched upon, that doesn't necessarily mean they're getting healthier. As they get wealthier, they start having less healthy lifestyle choices. they eat the wrong foods, they don't do any exercise, they just don't do the basic things they should do. And so we want to change that. So otherwise, we're going to end up with a world of lots and lots of very old people living to 120 or more on current projections, with those last 40 years in bad health. And on top of that, just to build on Amy's point, probably outliving their savings as well. So there is a potential future of lots of old people ill for last 40 years of their life with no money. Not a very bright future. This is where the financial industry can come in, and when insurance, it actually works for us to pay to keep people healthier for longer. So that's really our purpose, and that's why I'd encourage people to look at insurance through a different lens. It really is around that purpose, Stephen. That's
great. Thanks, Mark. Can you also talk about what sort of people that you're looking at? Are you reducing hiring this year, or are you expanding? Obviously you look for more than just actuarials. Can you talk a little bit about what sort of people you're looking at and are hiring this year?
Yeah, very much. So look, we're all acutely aware of this dreadful COVID-19 pandemic situation across the world, right? And what impact that had. It's had a devastating impact on many things, all aspects of society, economy, and health generally. For us, what it's actually done is reinforced our purpose-led strategic evolution and transformation, and actually accelerated the execution of that. So if we look at the structural drivers of growth, which you have to do when you look at strategy, you look at political, economic, social, technological, environmental, regulatory, ethical, demographic changes, boil those down to some structural growth drivers. And those would probably come under 5 categories now. The unprecedented wealth creation that's already been touched upon, the significant need for protection, rapidly shifting consumer mindset, pervasiveness of technology, and that's the one I want to come back to, and overall resilience and sustainability, really rallying around a purpose for sustainability. And so in terms of our strategy, what's really different now? We have to accelerate what we were planning to do in the space of technology, digital, data, and analytics. If we're going to keep people healthier for longer, we need to understand their lifestyle, which we can do through wearables and all sorts of health tech advancements. So by being able to track people through technology, digital, and using data and analytics, we can predict what their health might be. We can intervene in order to try and help and improve their health over the long term. But to do that, we've got to make a step change, and we will be making substantial investment in the areas of technology, digital, and analytics. So where we're recruiting heavily, and we cannot fill the demand that we have at the current time, is in this space of technology, digital, data, and analytics. We're looking for technology expertise, for digital expertise, for data scientists, data analysts, those types of people. Those are going to be the core of insurance. So, if you think about startups, in a way, these, may I say, old dinosaurs of insurance companies are going to become globally leading organizations that use technology in order to achieve our purpose. So we are heavily recruiting. We recruited, so during the COVID and lockdowns and things like that, we recruited some 25% more people than we have at any time in the past. People are seeing insurance as safe, as resilient, with this purpose, and now the excitement of enhancing and accelerating everything with technology. So that's it's really if there's anything good that's come out of this crisis for the insurance industry, it has been good in that we've been able to attract a lot more people to our industry.
Wow. So growth in the midst of changes. Can I turn to Anne to also talk a bit about, from your perspective, banking? Few students said they know a bit more, but I think banking is probably more than just what people think. Can you talk about that as well?
Yeah, banking is, it covers everything. And if you talk about how it affects the pandemic, it affects our hiring or the way we do business. I think of the million things, negative things that COVID had brought along, is really the driver of our transformation from more of a traditional business to a new way of doing things. Like the majority of our meetings are done through Zoom right now. And we are turning from more of a traditional way of paper-based work type of working to more of using data and using everything. And this change is quite big. And let me use an example. If you talk about the very basic type of banking services, like a deposit account, everyone has one, right? But the core of that hasn't changed much through the years. But the way that the channels through which these products get serviced has been evolving, and has been evolving a lot, from branches to ATMs to phone banking, internet, mobile, and that changes the way we do things. Let's use a very simple product as an example, and you think, oh, it's just because of a technology change, but it's not just that. If you take ATM, is something, the cash dispenser machine that came out probably in the 50s and 60s. It became more popular in the 70s. And in Hong Kong, even in the 1980s, the banks were still advertising on TV to get customers to use more of the ATMs rather than going to branches and queue up. So, it wasn't just technology, it was more of customers' confidence, customers' behavior. Now, with the pandemic, it really added speed to all the things that we were trying to do. Just in this year alone, our mobile banking, which had been around over a decade ago, obviously a long time ago, you know, it is more troublesome. You need to change a SIM card in order to use mobile banking. But even with the app version, it's been around for over 10 years now. But that take-up rate has been slow until this year, when the number of customers increased by 40% just over a few months, and the number of transactions via mobile increased by 70%. So how does that change us? It gave us the confidence to go full force of transitioning from a traditional way of banking to more a digital-led sort of banking. So that means great opportunities for young people, because we really do need a lot of young people to join into banking and give us this new perspective, rather than relying on senior citizens like us trying to learn it every day. Now, currently, I spend like 90% of my time trying to do transformation, transforming from a traditional way of running our business to more of probably Jim's way of running his business. There's a lot of things that we need to learn, and we are recruiting, we are hiring, and we want lots of young people to join us so they can help lead us to the next generation.
So would you also therefore fair to say that the hiring opportunity or the growth areas, as you said, is transformation, is digital, as technology, and that's where you see the growth area as well?
Yes, definitely. And that's why different types of hiring, you know, there's hiring to replace people, mid-career hiring and all that, you know, that's always something that we do. But we're putting a lot more focus on graduate recruits now, because that's investing into the future, that we need new generations to come in to help us build things like for the future, for our customers who are growing up with us, for investors, for businesses that are, especially a lot of startup businesses. We can't bank them the same way that we did traditional businesses. We can't ask them for your proof of your business concept. Let's show us your balance sheet and show us all these numbers so that we can decide what to do with you. So the whole thing of banking can be different.
And there's a question on sort of the comparison of mainland Chinese banks, banks from the owned by mainland Chinese capital versus other foreign banks, and since you have worked in both, since seeing your background, can you also illustrate and talk a bit about, for the students, you know, what would they expect? Are they different, and sort of the working culture and that sort of things?
Yeah, a lot of people would think that working in a Chinese bank is very different from a local bank. Yeah, obviously there are differences. Yeah, there are 160 something banks in Hong Kong from 28 different regions. So I bet each of these banks would have a different work culture or style. But that doesn't mean that you need to sort of adapt to certain things. Like I think both Jim and I work for Chinese names, Chinese banking financial institutions, and I'm sure Bank of China's culture is very different from Asian banks. So I guess, if in a general sense, not an absolute sense, you can say that many of the Chinese banks are in a developing mode. So there's more opportunity to grow with the bank and also to help shape the bank. More of the international banks are probably more mature and therefore more established path to follow and learn from. So there are good things from all different ways or different types of organizations. A lot of young people right now are also looking at Chinese banks because of the growth opportunity they see, not only in Hong Kong, but probably in the Greater Bay Area. That's a very fair way of looking at it, because if you look at Hong Kong's population, it's 8 million, but if you look at the Greater Bay Area, you're looking at 70 million people. So that's where the growth opportunity comes from. But I'd say for young graduates, whichever institution you end up working for, learn to appreciate whatever culture there is, whatever style there is. There's always something to learn from. And be proactive, be creative, be curious, and that's going to be wherever you are, you're going to find it worthwhile.
Great, thank you. Maybe I'll turn to Jim. FinTech seems to be the lowest, least understood among the students polling. And even though obviously a lot of people heard about this term, Jim, can you illustrate, basically what is a FinTech, what are the opportunities, and especially for the graduates?
Thank you, Stephen. Good morning, everyone. It's our honor to be here this morning to share with the students about some of our views and what's happening in the industry. As for the FinTech industry as a whole, how it is impacted by the pandemic, I think it changes our daily lives in many ways, as our speakers has already mentioned. One of my favorite example would be food delivery. As we work from home and also under the social distancing and quarantine measures, we would dine at home, and it drives the food delivery industry in a big way. We see that if you look at the stock price in a few months, it jumps 3 to 5 times. And if you look at like on a TV commercial in the Major League Soccer events, I think this is interest of a lot of our students here today. You look at the billboard advertisement. Traditionally, you have a financial industries putting advertisement. Now is a food delivery companies putting advertisement in these major league events. Changes in our daily lives spawn a lot of FinTech applications. If you order food from these apps, you pay online, so it drives the B2C online payment transactions. If you look at the coverage of the restaurant, maybe in the beginning of the pandemic, this restaurant's coverage may be about half, and a few months down the road, it covers all kinds of restaurants. So how do these companies pay the merchants? How do they pay the salary of these drivers, which become more and more on the road? It's very interesting. It spawns a lot of FinTech applications. So the whole FinTech market actually spawned around this our daily life changes. If you look at FinTech, traditional financial institutions, they do not have robust digital and mobile solutions already in place. They're struggling to serve clients in the current environment. Social distancing and quarantine measures make digital solutions essential to allowing consumers full access to and use of their funds. We expect growing demand for traditional financial institutions seeking FinTech partners to build out or booster their legacy systems in the months to come. On the other hand, the pandemic has driven an accelerated demand for contactless solutions. Paper money changes hands many times over and is known to harbor germs. And even PIN pad systems are touched dozens or even hundreds of times per day. Consumers are more aware of these hazards than ever before. And the World Health Organization has explicitly encouraged the use of contactless payments. Examples of these contactless payments include WeChat Pay and FPS. So if you look at the faster payment system, FPS, the registration number marked a record high by end of September to 6.09 millions, when we saw a peak in the confirmed cases in June, July time. The growth of FPS registration number has reached a record high of 7%. So during the pandemic, we see the operations, whether it's in the offline branches of banks or in the government offices, they have shrunk because we have to better protect our employees, because we have a BCP, business continuity plan, requirement from the regulators. But we see less queuing offline. That means more and more transactions are moved to online. So it actually respond a lot of fintech applications. We also see that the fintech innovations can improve people's livelihood during the pandemic. A few examples being on the payment side, we see some green channel for more than 400 medical institutions and charity organizations in mainland China, facilitating their services to the public through seamless payment and settlement services. And also some of these new breakthroughs in blockchain technology. We have the blockchain invoicing. It makes contactless payment, including the invoicing sector, also feasible. And also we have the right registration code, 省車碼, which also help track potential COVID-19 carriers. And actually it helps combat the pandemic. So I think the whole fintech landscape covers our daily lives in different sectors, from online payment to online banking, as some of the services that Anne has just mentioned, and also to save people's time and trips to offline, and it spawns around new applications in retailing, in food delivery, and as Fusion Bank's business or our direction is merging our customers' needs into their daily lives. So as we see, we have 8 different virtual banks launched this year, but our direction, each virtual banks have different direction. Our direction is to fusion this kind of new behavior into our whole payment ecosystem. So when we look at the government giving subsidy, 派錢, 10,000 Hong Kong dollars to our Hong Kong citizens, we think about ways how to stimulate this spending on the mobile payment to ease people's lives. So different virtual banks and different fintech companies have different directions. But I think the pandemic brings a lot of crisis, but it also brings a lot of opportunities, and also to our students as well, as we are also hiring, and we are also looking for very bright young talent who can understand the financial industry while also embrace the whole internet company culture and develop applications for the needs of the users, and be agile and be a fast learner. So I think it also brings great opportunities to the students as well.
Thank you, Jim. I think I have a generic questions from the floor that I think is applicable to everyone. If you can think about this, is you know, today's theme seems to be a lot of digital transformation technologies, and I'm sure among the audience there are non-tech people, because there is a question from my journalism major. And the question there was, okay, so what is the advice for the non-tech people who are interested to participate in this technological transformation process of the financial industry? Should they start learning coding? Should they, or what sort of ways they can do to equip themselves better?
Mark? Stephen, yeah, I mean, a great question, yes, because we've talked a lot about technology, digital data analytics. But that's going to be core of our world. That is pervasive in our world. But we can't just survive just on technicians. So if I take the insurance industry as an example, it's a people industry. You know, we need people who understand people. What do we do in essence? We help when bad things happen, like death, illness. But what we want to do is really help prevent or reduce the risk of those bad things happening. So we need people who understand people. We need all types of skills. And ultimately, I think, you know, the future may be that actually technicians are replaced by technology, right? So a lot of the things, a lot of the more mundane, the coding things, we're going to get artificial intelligence, and through machine learning, things like a lot of coding will happen itself. What we need actually more, dare I say, philosophers, people who understand human beings, anthropologists, people who understand social interaction. You need those type of thinkers to help the technology, digital data people to drive insights, provide the technology to achieve what people really need. At the end of the day, insurance is a people business, right? It is for people. So having technology skills is helpful, yes, but we really need people who can work with people, influence people. Let me talk in a healthy living again. We all know we should do a bit of exercise and eat the right foods, but we're human beings, right? We don't. So how do you, through behavioral economics, how do you influence people to do the right things? Those are the type of, we need people who understand that, and then they can tell, and then the technology experts can go and develop that technology. So you don't need to be a technology expert. Can you learn coding? Sure. Even people like me can learn coding, but I'm never going to be as good as some of the greatest coders. So what's my value? Okay, I can help understand people. I'm an actuary by profession, so I've got some data scientist skills, if you like, but you can adapt those. But it's really about understanding people. So we need, I think, throughout financial institutions, we need a whole myriad of skills and different expertise that we mold together to do the right thing and deliver on our purpose. And I'm sure that applies to everybody.
If I may echo, actually, while technology is important, because recently we did a survey among all the members banks. So a lot of them saying now their focus is on technology because the pandemic has basically accelerated the whole transformation of the traditional, particularly the traditional kind of banking industry. So it's important for all the students to really keep yourself updated on the technology, but it's really up to you where your passion lies. Because to echo what was being discussed earlier, actually, the banking is a people business, and it's not just about the front; it's front, middle, back. So basically, we welcome students from different disciplines to apply for the position, and what we are looking for is also the team players, the problem solvers, and also highly motivated individuals who want to be challenged and make a difference. Because if I look at just in the wealth management business for UBS, we have 1,000 people in Hong Kong, and it's front, middle, back. So we have people from operation, from legal and compliance, which is a very hot topic right now for all the banks, and also obviously from the front. And for the front, what they need to know to have is they're good listener. The communication skill is very, very important because we need the bankers who will be able to speak the same language and also have the similar cultural background. I am a Hakanese, Hakaya. I wish I can speak the dialect in addition to my memory. So I think be open, know where your passion lie is most important. Where does your strength and your passion lie, and also the communication skill, and know what's going on around the globe. Because if you go to some of this interview, we will be asking you on some of the hot topics. So in the past, for example, the U.S. Trade tension, the Sino-U.S. Kind of trade tension, now with the COVID kind of situation, the topic on sustainability. So get yourself familiar with some of this topic, and the people skill is very, very important.
Thanks, Amy. I think
opportunity is everywhere. It's not just about the front, it's front, middle, back. So it's important to know where your own passion lies.
Thank you. James, do you only hire tech people? Do you hire people that don't know how to code?
No, definitely. We don't only hire tech people. In fact, we hire a substantial number of students from the computer science major, but we also have a lot of students coming from cross-disciplinary talent background. because as I mentioned, fintech applications will merge with the daily lives and use cases. So how do you identify the key pain points in the users or in the whole society, and then put together the right solution, a very good user experience solution to the users? Is actually the key. So we look at the students who is good a communicator, who is good problem solver, and who is very self-driven. That you want to, you are very motivated to solve people's problem and feel good about it. So in a lot of our big innovations, like the mobile payment, WeChat Pay, WeChat Red Envelope, 微信红包, this kind of application, we see students or our colleagues who shine the most are people who can really put the right solution after they have the right user insights. But having said that, we also welcome students who can demonstrate that their driving, their motivation to learn more and more about computer science and IT, because as you appreciate more what technology can do and have some kind of idea how to deploy a different technology in different settings, you will gain an edge. I think even nowadays we see a lot of continuing learning opportunities. We have a very good training from Hong Kong MA and FSDC to students, and also the industry like Tencent. We have a Tencent Finance Academy. We have some joint programs with Hong Kong U to put together some degree-bearing courses, and then we deliver the courses with a lot of case studies for the experience both in mainland China and Hong Kong. And I think this will be very good learning opportunities for students, even though they are not computer science major, but will be good chances for them to equip themselves more so that they can put this new knowledge into practice as well.
So the answer is yes. Even if you are a generalist major, you might as well just start to learn a bit more. And do you have thoughts on that? And my final question before Anne answers is just to prepare everyone. I think it's the time is running out, but I do want to bring this question up as well as the recent survey that there are less Hong Kong Cantonese speaking mother tongue people that are actually be able to get to the top in finance these days. And what is the what is your view on the competitiveness of people that and that speak Cantonese as their mother tongue, and should they learn better Mandarin, and what is sort of the strategy there? But I will go to Aaron first to answer that non-tech people question. What's the
question, right? Yeah, we have over 1,000 people in IT, but we have 13,000 people who are not. And so back to that point on my example on ATM, the technology is important, then is understanding the customer's behavior and designing our services that would cater to customers' needs are more important. So that's why you're saying that there's lots of opportunity for young people right now, because we're into understanding, we're into customer insights, understanding what customers want. And who are those customers? The customers who are growing with the bank. Many of them are young. They're more adapted to the new technology, the new way of digital banking. So how do we do better? We used to just transpose something of a paper form, a PDF format, and put it on the internet. And that's not the digital that we are talking about right now. So understanding customer behavior is something that's most important to us. So that's with young people who grow up with a mobile phone. My son told me that he could understand how we could go through college without having a mobile phone. But for the young people today, they grew up, swiping screens. And this is something that we had to learn. So the opportunities are abundant. And about your question as to whether you need to be, your question is saying that you don't need to be the Cantonese speakers having less of chances. Probably. I think in Hong Kong, in our time, it used to be Cantonese and English, and now is it Cantonese, Mandarin, and English. Having more language ability, obviously, would put you more at the forefront of opportunities, but that's not always the first requirement. I think what we look for talents right now is the quality of the person, the quality of the person being proactive, being creative, curious. And one of the most important factor, I guess, is be able to persevere. Your career path is not going to be smooth 100% every day. You're going to see challenges. How do you stay positive when you're seeing challenges? How do you overcome them? One of the advice I give to my colleagues is there are various opportunities in the market. You don't shy away or you move job just because you're seeing a challenge here. You want to overcome your challenge. You want to move jobs when there are better opportunities outside, not when you're seeing challenges in your current position and you want to back out from it. So I think the quality is more important than anything else.
Okay, Amy,
If I may add,
yeah, please.
if I may add, I'm a local. I graduated from the Hong Kong University, and Cantonese is my mother tongue. I remember many years ago, one of my senior gave me some advice, and it resonated very well with me, because especially in international bank like UBS, it's a very inclusive and focused on diversity. So she told me at the end, Amy, what matters is this is on meritocracy. You do well, no matter you are woman or you are Asian, you will survive and you will excel in your career. So my advice to you is that the passion that counts, because at the end, if you show your contribution, you can take the business to the next level, be forward looking, take care of the people around you, and you will also excel in your career. It doesn't matter whether you're local or whether you are Asian or a woman or coming from different kind of background. And now a lot of the banks and also institution also has a focus on millennial. So I think sky is the limit. Do your best, know where your passion lies. I think that's important.
Stephen, may I just add to the great points made by Anne and Amy? That, I mean, I've lived in Hong Kong for 31 years. My Cantonese is my 7-year-old daughter is much more proficient in Cantonese than myself. Let's put it that way. And I don't speak Mandarin. If I look at my strategy function within AIA, I have 17 different nationalities with a mother tongue. Very few of those speak Mandarin. Very few speak Cantonese. English is the common language amongst us currently. Is it helpful to be able to speak Mandarin? Sure. Yes, yeah. I wish I could, but I can't. But technology helps me a lot, and will continue to help me a lot in that space. So just to echo Anne's and Amy's point, for me, what's important is diversity. And actually, the more different nationalities that you've got is good, and then people communicate. So language is helpful, yes. But no way is it, in my opinion anyway, and I think Anne, Amy, and I'm sure Jim as well would say, is an absolute necessity to succeed.
And I didn't speak Mandarin the first year I was in Bank of China. I spoke English throughout, and I picked up my Mandarin afterwards. That's
amazing. Jim, any thoughts on that one?
Exactly. I think Mandarin is important, but you can pick it up. Like Anne, I didn't have the luxury of having Mandarin lessons in my primary school, secondary school, or university, but I just deep dive into mainland China and work in a Chinese internet company for 12 years. I pick it up along the way. So a lot of the meetings is conducted in Mandarin. I make a lot of people make fun of me hearing my accents and different, very different way of saying things, but I keep improving. I think being a fast learner and you have the flexibility and eagerness to learn, you will overcome and become good at it. So in our meetings, usually we conduct online typing into the QQ at that time. early days, and also typing in the WeChat nowadays. I cannot type Chinese in the beginning, but after getting better and better at it, and it trained my Mandarin pronunciation as well, because the pinyin, I need to type in pinyin. So actually it helps me to train up myself. So I think it's important, the language skill, but being a fast learner and then ability to learn quickly is something we treasure.
Thanks so much for today's panel. I think what we are saying is that this is a changing world, but there are things that are not changing. The quality of a person in terms of tenacity, willingness to learn, and being a fast learner, being passionate about what you do. I think these are the constant in the changing world. Obviously the world will continue to change, but good luck and best of luck for all of you that are, embarking on your exciting career. Thanks also for the panelists today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Many thanks to all the panelists for the insightful sharing today. But before you leave, could you please remain here and look at the camera for a while so that we can have a picture with the students here. Please show your thumbs up to show your support to the students, and we will capture this memorable moment. On a count of three, 3, 2, 1, smile. All right, thank you all once again for your sharings, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Right.
Bye-bye, thank you.
Bye.
Congratulations to all the students whose questions have been picked by the panelists. You will be awarded a free ticket to the Hong Kong FinTech Week of 2020. Our FSDC staffs will contact you shortly, so remember to check out your email.